Good afternoon from Kleinshire. It's only June and we are ready for the first harvest of the season. Let me introduce you to garlic scapes. Look at these guys. Look at that. Not quite ready. Beautiful curl. All the way down the road, just like that. Maybe you already know what garlic scapes are, but I don't think that most people do. And the reason for that, well, it's complicated. I think that a big part of it is that most of our garlic comes from places like China, Mexico, basically overseas, and it takes a long time to get here to the States. Whereas garlic stores well and maybe half a year or more old before it gets to you, garlic scapes are seasonal and they are something that need to be enjoyed in the few weeks of the summer when the garlic flowers. And therefore, since so many people buy their garlic from overseas, although garlic is common, garlic scapes, good luck finding them in the grocery store. Maybe you'll find them at the farmer's market, but like I said, most people haven't even heard about them. Well, what are garlic scapes? Hardneck garlic sends out a flower. It's part of its growth cycle. It wants to flower, and that's what the scape is. It's the flower of the garlic that is sent out. And if the scapes aren't picked, ultimately that flower will flower and produce what are called bulbils, which are like tiny little garlic cloves, and it's one of the ways that garlic propagates itself. Now, what's the big deal with the garlic scapes? Well, first of all, as a garlic farmer, I need to pick them. It's a matter of necessity. If you do not snap off the scape at the proper time, the energy for the plant goes not so much into bulb growth, but instead into producing that flower and all the little bulbils. This isn't such a good thing if most of your profit comes from the sale of the garlic bulb and you want the garlic bulb to be as big as you can, and therefore scapes must be picked. So that's what I'm out here to do. I'm out here to pick the scapes. But there's more to it than that, because in places where people buy their garlic locally, like Europe, France, for example, Italy, places where a lot of garlic is grown and enjoyed locally, scapes are extremely popular as a cuisine in their own right. And for the right customer, someone who knows what scapes are, basically, who has tried them, scapes are something that is highly sought after even here in the States. You have to find your customer base, but when you do, you can sell them. Well, the story is that we sell scapes over the internet. If you want to order scapes from us, now is the time to do so. Kleinshire.com is our e-commerce site, and I'm taking orders right now. But the fact is, we grow about 1.25 acres of garlic, and some of our sales are direct to consumer, but we also sell a great deal wholesale. And my wholesaler contacted me and said that she is making the rounds because there are a few other farms in our area, and she wants as many scapes as are ready for tomorrow, which is Friday. So I'm out here with urgency to pick as many scapes as are curled and ready to go. It's the first harvest of the season, and I'm excited. Right now it's just me. I'm getting things set up. The boys are at piano lessons, but likely before this video is over, you'll see the family combing the field and harvesting some of these scapes. Let me take you along so that I can show you how it's done. Basically, I am looking for the scapes that have a nice curl to them. If you pick the scapes too soon, the stem will continue to grow, which is basically a waste of energy that could be going to the bulb. If you pick the scapes too late, you lose the delicacy because the scapes get woody and hard. So basically I'm looking for one curl. When I'm not doing this one-handed, I'll try to do a better job bunching them in my newspaper sack, my repurposed newspaper sack, which is my harvest container here. So I'm going up and down the row and I'm looking for those that are ready. First newspaper sack full. Look at these. These are absolutely beautiful. You know, our American food system absolutely boggles my mind. We can have something like this. The taste is amazing. All the things that you can do with it. I think when Rosemary gets home with the boys and comes out here, I'm going to ask her, I'll video her, what she thinks you all can do with this. But there are so many ways to prepare these. They have just a garlicky, a subtle garlicky flavor. It's not quite like the bulb of the garlic, but there's just a more subtle flavor to it. It is an absolute delicacy in many places, and here in the United States, simply because we import our food from overseas, something like this gets forgotten. You know, our first few years before we had a wholesaler, an outlet for these scapes, we went the route of many small-time growers. We sold as many as we could, we ate as many as we could, but ultimately we dumped them. And it just, again, it boggled my mind that you could have something like this, which should be a delicacy, and which, whenever we introduce people to scapes, they absolutely loved, that we're feeding to our pigs. Why? It's because in America, everything is interconnected and global, and scapes don't ship. They don't store and ship the way that the garlic bulb does. So they're basically unknown to Americans. I'm glad for the revival. I'm glad we found the wholesaler. I'm glad that we've developed something of a fan base where we sell some of these direct to customer as well. Again, if you want to order scapes from us for the next 2 weeks or so, as the different varieties come online, we will have them available. Kleinshire.com. I'd better get back, put these in the shade and get back to work. Well, I was at it all afternoon, and then we had some supper, and now my work crew is here. I have a couple of my kids, one of my sisters-in-law, Rosemary's out here, a couple boys. We're still working at it.
Like this one's right?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, nice curl there. Well,
That
good.
one's not fully right.
Well, there are more. Don't skip them.
That one isn't either.
So, Rose, what do you like about scapes?
What do I like about scapes? Probably the thing that we do the most with the scapes is the blanched ones. We put them in a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
We put them in soups. I put them with eggs, stir fries, and lasagna.
So to blanch them, you just cut them up into little pieces.
About inch pieces. is what we
And
usually
like any other thing that you freeze,
boiling water.
Yeah, boiling water.
Dump them in for what, about a minute
Yeah.
or so. Depends on how many you have, because we do pretty big pots.
Mm-hmm. And then cool them off quickly, otherwise they
We
get
have a huge
mushy.
colander, and
Yep.
then we run icy cold well water over them.
Yep.
Until they're cooled off.
And those get frozen in quart bags.
Yep. Yes. And then another thing you can do with the scapes is the pesto. People like to make pesto with scapes.
How do you make that?
Well, one way to make it is to blend up the scapes themselves. First off, you always cut off the flour. This
Show the
part's
flour.
tough.
What is the flour?
So the flour is actually, whoops, this part right here. This is the flour. You actually use this part.
Yep.
Below the flour.
Okay.
So you use that stem. You take those, you blend those up, and you can put really anything you want, but a lot of times people put nuts, some sort of oil, Parmesan cheese, some lemon juice, some salt and pepper. But really, if you look up a pesto recipe, you could find
And just substitute
any
scapes in
variation. If you wanted it to be dairy-free or whatever, and nut-free, you could do that too. But
there.
yeah,
You freeze it
nice
in little glass jars.
That's how we do it. I think
Yep.
you can can it, we just haven't done that.
And then finally pickled scapes, which are the favorite.
That
right,
is the
Clement?
ultimate
Pickled
favorite.
scapes?
I do like pesto, sort of.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess there's a competition. But pickled scapes are good, right?
Scapes are good.
So for pickling them, it's just like pickling anything else,
Very
right?
simple pickling recipe would be a little bit more water than vinegar, so not quite half and half, just a little more water than vinegar. We like to put peppercorns in our jars, and then dill if you want to. Even with the pickled scapes, you can do dill, but you don't have to. And then mustard.
So
Like
the
mustard.
trick, I think, if I had one tip myself, it'd be wide mouth jars because the scapes are long, right? So you sort of wrap them up.
And they're not fun to pack into narrow mouth jars.
I can't promise a scape pickling video, but perhaps that's in the works in the next week or so, especially for those who are interested in ordering scapes and wondering how to preserve them. So maybe a video with some tips, right?
Yep, and I forgot you have to have salt.
Oh yeah, well salt, definitely salt.
Just have to make sure people know.
And then we have Rosemary's sister Rachel working too. Rachel, what is your favorite thing to make with scapes?
Well, I like eating the pickled scapes,
Uh-huh.
and I like making the pesto.
Uh-huh.
I like eating the pesto too, but the pickled are my favorite.
The scapes are good. Everybody's a fan. All right, load her up.
Okay.
Let's go. Get these bushel baskets loaded. Come on, go, 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 go.
Put them all. Oh, these are actually light.
Very gentle.
It's like the actual solid count that we're carrying.
Do not drop them. Do not drop scapes in the ground.
Oh, actually, go off the cranials, push them farther back.
There you go. Get them up. Does somebody not get to ride because there's no space? Cheers! Oh,
Do you want to ride in the truck? Oh, you want in that truck? Do you want in the truck? Do you need to be in the truck?
no. How is he gonna fit?
One over there, Cleve. There's one over there.
All right, look at that.
Two crabs.
Got a lot of scapes.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Have a nice relaxing ride back.
Bouncy maybe. All right, ride's over. Was that fun? Hey, was that fun?
Was it fun?
Fun, yeah. All right, that's it for tonight. It was a late night. It was a lot of work. I need to get these unloaded on a table in the packing area, covered with a tarp and ready for my wholesaler in the morning. We'll go through once more in the morning to see what else curled, but this is a good load. There will be more. So this load goes to my wholesaler, but there will be more for direct to consumer. The wholesaler will come back as well. If you want to order, if you want to try out scapes, kleinshire.com. I'd be happy to send you some. There will be plenty. God bless. Have a good night.